Master EX here, and I'm bringing you the very first episode of our brand new informational series called Trainer Card Wednesday. And basically what Trainer Card Wednesday is a way for you viewers who are more like into competitive battling to see some new Pokemon and understand my thought process behind the ones that you use in competitive battling. So if you want to get into the scene and you're not quite sure where to start, I can give you guys competitive sets that I actually use in Wi-Fi battles and on Showdown. So each episode we're going to feature 6 Pokemon, and there's going to be a theme for every episode, and today's theme is Kanto Competitives. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to start right off the bat with one of my favorite Pokemon. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys saw this coming, especially since it's Kanto. We're going to go ahead and start off with Gengar. Gengar is an amazing Pokemon. He's OU and he's so great to use. The set I prefer to run is Black Sludge, Timid Nature. Ability, of course, is Levitate, because Gengar doesn't get anything else. And you run the move Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Substitute, and Disable. What you do is you set up a Substitute, and you just scout what you can use it to scout out what your opponent's going to use first, because most of the Pokemon Gengar will encounter, he does outspeed, and in the rare case you don't, well, I would highly recommend switching out. But once you figure out what that move is, because the person's probably going to go to just kill Gengar right away, the Substitute will be broken, and you can disable that move, and a lot of people don't actually see it coming, which I don't understand, because it's kind of, I mean, once you see the sub, I don't know if you think I'm going to set up on you with Calm Mind. I don't even think Gengar gets Calm Mind. But another name that, I also put nicknames on these, and I love the nickname Malevolence for a Gengar, because he's just so sinister looking and just so amazing. I love Gengar. Next, we have, I mean, you'll know this Pokemon from our Sapphire Let's Play, Mother, the Nidoqueen, who's UU, and a lot of people actually they kind of just use Nidoking over Nidoqueen, but I've always loved Nidoqueen more. I used Nidoqueen in my Leaf Green playthrough the very first time I got the game. And you'll find that the set's exactly the same as Nidoking, actually. Life Orb, Modest Nature, or I guess you could run Timid. I think Nidoking's a little speedier than Nidoqueen, so I decided to run Modest on Nidoqueen. You could try Timid if you want to outspeed. And the ability you use is Sheer Force. The moves you have are Earth Power, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Sludge Wave. Since each of these moves has an added effect, such as Thunderbolt with a chance for Paralysis, Ice Beam with a chance for Freeze, Sludge Wave with a chance to Poison, and Earth Power with a chance to, I think, drop Special Defense, maybe? I might be wrong, don't quote me on that. These effects will be removed, and all of your moves will get a boost from Sheer Force. Another good thing about holding Life Orb is Sheer Force actually takes away the recoil from Life Orb too, so I don't know if that's a double boost for the attack or not. Either way, you're still getting the Life Orb boost, and you're also like getting out of taking the damage from using your attacks, which is nothing to sneeze at in the least. Next, we have Natsu. That's my favorite nickname for Charizard, especially when it's a Mega Charizard X. Leading us into the item Charizardite X, we have Jolly, or I guess Adamant Nature. I recommend Jolly for outspeeding, even though we do run Dragon Dance on this set. And Blaze overall is a much better ability than Solar Power, because the sun won't always be up, and even if it is, you don't really want to be taking damage on your Charizard, especially with rocks being part of the metagame. The moves you want to run on a Charizard, well, the moves I run on Charizard of this nature and of this kind are Flare Blitz, Outrage, Dragon Dance, and Earthquake. The goal here is to, 1, outplay your opponent. Most people will probably see Charizard Y coming because it's a lot more common than Charizard X nowadays, I believe. And then even at that, a lot of people expect to see the bulky Charizard running like Roost, Dragon Claw, Earthquake, and Flare Blitz. And what you do here is you can either go for a Dragon Dance on turn 1, expecting them to think you're Charizard Y, but that's kind of unsafe considering Charizard Y is literally the same as Charizard, so it's gonna have the same weaknesses. But what you can do is you can Mega Evolve first, then Dragon Dance, and you'll outspeed a lot of things. You could either like Unleash and go for Outrages, or you could play it safe and go for Earthquake or Flare Blitz depending on the situation, because you don't want to be locked into a move where a fairy can switch in and just check you. Next, we have Vaporeon, and I love just naming water types in general. Lucy. I love the name Lucy. It's not a fairy tale reference because, I mean, it is a water type and has nothing to do with fairies, but what I love to run on a Vaporeon are leftovers because Vaporeon's nice and bulky. It can take hits, especially, well, yeah, I'd say it can take hits. I think it's stronger on the special side than is, no, it's definitely stronger on the defensive side. And I run a Modest Nature because I like to just go all out, as you can see with 2 dragons and 2, well, you'll see later, but we have Water Absorb, Modest Nature, because I do love to be able to one-hit KO with a Vaporeon if it's ever possible. And the moves we love to run here are Scald, in case you want the burn, Ice Beam, in case you want the freeze, Wish to preserve your Vaporeon, and Toxic to whittle down your opponent, because I'm positive Vaporeon can live any one hit so long as it's not a physical super effective hit. Such as probably like if you, I don't think you're going to take a Power Whip, you might not take a Leaf Storm, and you probably won't take a Frenzy Plant. But if you take one, you can always go for Wish while the Toxic is up, and that'll keep your Vaporeon alive far longer than your opponent will want it to, and they'll be taking the continuous toxic damage, which will stack as long as you're preserving yourself. Next, we have Dragonite, and I just named my Dragonites Happy because Dragonite's just such a happy looking Pokemon, and he just looks like he wants a hug. And I love to run Lumberry because of that very first move we have right there, Outrage. It's so nice to be able to get 2 to 3 Outrages with no consequence, so long as A, your opponent doesn't burn you, trying to ruin your multi-scale, or B, a fairy type doesn't switch in and ruins the whole thing. I run Jolly Nature to make sure I outspeed certain Pokemon, even after the Dragon Dance, and Multi-Scale is an amazing ability that can keep Dragonite alive a lot longer than whatever the hell its other ability is. It's so bad I don't even know what it is. And our moves, of course, are Outrage, Dragon Dance to speed up and power up the Outrage, Earthquake, and Fire Punch for coverage, especially when you encounter those pesky Ferrothorns who switch in thinking they can screw up your Outrage and Leech Seed you to screw up your Multi-Scale, which is kind of annoying, but the Lumberry is good for those people who think that burning Dragonite will pretty much just set them good. I love to run Lumberry over Weakness Policy because we can get there anyway without having to risk taking the super effective hit, because I've learned that Ice Beams that are stabbed will still kill you through Multi-Scale, so be careful of that. And last but not least, we have Sparky, the Raichu. This is really just on here because there aren't a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon that are competitive that I like even. So we have Raichu here for decent coverage. I mean, you can get the flying types, you can get water types, and if you check its moves, it'll be a little more diverse than just that. We run the Choice Specs to boost our special attack, Timid Nature to boost our speed, and I think Lightning Rod overall is a little bit better of an ability than Static because, I mean, you can neutralize common Pokemon like Rotom Wash going for Volt, or even any type of electric type that loves to Volt Switch, or just if they want a hard switch. A lot of the times a Pokemon, if they have Volt Switch and they outspeed, they will probably try to go for the Volt Switch to get out there, just so they can give you some extra damage and still get the switch, as opposed to switching into an attack and gaining almost nothing. And we love to run the moves Thunderbolt, Focus Blast. It's nice, I don't see it coming in case someone wants to switch in like a Tyranitar and then you just destroy its life with a Choice Specs Focus Blast. It is risky because Focus Blast misses a lot. Grass Knot for coverage, just in case we encounter ground types, which we probably will, and HP Ice because dragon types are a thing, flying types are a thing, and we might not be able to take them down with just Thunderbolt, like in case it's a Gliscor. Hidden Power Ice Raichu with choice specs on a Gliscor, that's a matchup I'd like to see. Well, that's going to be it for our first edition of Trainer Card Wednesday. I can't wait to see you guys next week for the next installment where we will be tackling a Johto team. And if you enjoyed, leave a like and a comment down below. Tell us what kind of Pokemon you love to use, competitive or not competitive, because a lot of these Pokemon about half these Pokemon I don't use competitive. They're actually the Pokemon I used in my Leaf Green playthrough. So that's going to be it from Shadow X. I will see you guys next time. Peace.